Now, hackers have stolen up to $1 billion from financial institutions in over 30 countries in what could be the biggest cyber bank heist in history. Before it was published, RT received exclusive access to the report from the Russian IT security firm Kaspersky Lab, which discovered the crime. And you can see here quotes from that report. This is how they say it happened. Back in 2013, an ATM in Ukraine started spewing out cash when no customers were around, and the money was eagerly collected by random passers-by. Specialists from the Kaspersky were called in by the bank to investigate. What they found was a huge security breach, but it wasn't only at this institution. It affected over 100 other banks worldwide. According to Kaspersky, at least $300 million were stolen, but the company says the total could be more than 3 times higher. Well, Kaspersky has not revealed the names of the banks affected because of an agreement with them, and no institutions have admitted any security breach. Let's now talk to the chief of staff at Kaspersky Lab, Anton Shingarev, who joins me now live from Mexico. Anton, thanks so much for joining us. Well, $300 million, this is a huge sum, unprecedented, I would say. How did this happen? How was this possible?
Hi, Marina. Well, firstly, it was the most sophisticated criminal attack we've ever seen. Criminals in this attack, they used the methods which were in the past used by governments. So it was targeted attack. Attack on each bank took approximately 2 months, and we estimate there was a gang of approximately 10 or maybe more criminals working on a daily basis in this attack. The modules they used in this attack, they were again sophisticated and unique for criminal malware. It wasn't just simple Trojan. It were modules used to infiltrate to the very heart of the banking system. At the end, they managed to get the whole access to the whole banking system. They managed to remotely control ATMs. They managed to transfer money from one account to another. And because of the extreme level of complication, banks couldn't realize that we've been under attack.
That certainly poses a lot of questions, and I'm sure that there are more questions than answers at this point. I mean, I've been to Kaspersky Lab here in Moscow, and it's fascinating to see how your specialists work. They're, fighting off the cyber attacks, and there are screens where you can see them, which are quite numerous. But, the question here is, how powerful are these criminals that it's so difficult sometimes to fight off their attacks? Tell us what you know about them, without getting too technical, of course.
Unfortunately, we don't know anything about them. All we know is just a gang of dozen or maybe a couple of dozens of criminals. They all have different levels, and they've got their own hierarchy. So there are, let's say, managers. There are people who do day-to-day operations. There are mules. So these are people who take cash from ATMs. It's really a problem that they've been caught so far. So unfortunately, we cannot reveal any details about law enforcement agencies involved in this operation, or about the banks involved in this, the banks who suffered from the attack. But what we can say is that we worked together with Interpol and Europol in this case. They informed police organizations in their own member countries. So fingers crossed, in some time we will tell you some more about the attack, about the criminals and the banks which were affected.
Sure. And when these criminals commit their crimes, I mean, do they leave traces that could somehow be caught by your experts and, eventually lead to some discoveries or, catching those criminals?
As I said, these criminals, they are really experts in what they're doing.
Of course, yeah.
But even experts leave traces. So that's why it was possible to detect the attack, to stop the attack, and for police organizations, maybe it would be possible to catch them. You said that we said in our report that the attack took approximately 2 years. So that's why the level of sophistication was so high that it was very hard to detect that what they're doing for these years. But fortunately, we've got some traces, we've got some artifacts left in the code, and probably they will be caught. But it's just a matter of time when.
Sure. Well, another question I'd like to put to you before we let it go, of course, is that, I mean, these days everything is getting mobile and, mobile banking, and people do transactions on a daily basis every day using banks and, in fact, confiding their data to banks. And banks, as we know, have very tough security, but nonetheless, this security was breached. So what can you say about that? I mean, what's going to be happening? Will there be more security in the banks? How can you actually protect yourself these days and protect your data?
Yeah, it's a very important thing. A fight with criminals, it's always an arms race. So security companies develop better protection and criminals develop better malware to bypass it. So not all the attacks on banks were successful. So we report about attacks successful for criminals, but they were also attacked in which they couldn't bypass all the layers of protection. Because protection of the banks, it's very complicated. They've got different levels of security. They've got air gaps, so the systems which are disconnected from the internet. So the criminals in this attack, some of them managed to get to the very core of the bank. In some attacks, the attack was stopped in the middle or in the beginning. Sometimes we even stopped the attack, then the criminals were almost stealing money. So there was a very unique feature in this attack. Criminals managed to grab videos from the screens. So they managed to learn what the bank staff is doing and operating, how they operate in their own system. And in this attack, it was one of big European banks. We managed to stop the attack in the middle of it. So criminals were already studying and learning how the bank is working and watching videos at the people who are working in the bank. So, and to add about the protection, as I said, it's always an arms race. And banks, these are probably the best organizations, best enterprises in terms of security, cybersecurity. So criminals develop new malware, security companies develop new protection. So hopefully we do our job better. But I would say that that we were ready to protect from this attack, give protection to our customers from this attack.
Well, sure, it's a 24/7 struggle there. Well, wishing you good luck in this fight. Anton Chindarev, it was great talking to you. Thanks so much, and good luck.